Hey folks, welcome back to SupeRonpoNatural, the truly ridiculous show where I try to recap and review every single episode of Supernatural. As always, let me know what you think of this episode in the comments. And while you're down there, check the pinned comment for a short and fun poll for another project of mine. You guys really came through for me last time, and I think the questions are actually even better this time, so give it a try. And I'm going to try my absolute hardest to get episode 1 of that other project out as soon as I can. There's just a lot going on right now. With that out of the way, let's hop into Season 1, Episode 9, Home. We see a pretty lady in what looks like an attic. She's looking at a photo. Sadly, it seems like her husband's dead. Her daughter comes in and says there's something in her closet. Hot mom checks, says there's nothing there, puts the daughter back to bed. That's a cool scar, really gives her face character. Daughter doesn't like the house, but mom reassures her that they'll all be very happy. As she leaves, daughter reminds her to block the closet with the chair. This is totally something I would have done as a kid. I was super anxious and I had nightmares all the time. It was awful, and I had all these really weird rituals that I thought protected me from them. I was a weird kid. Mom hears a pitter-patter. She prays that it's not rats, but we all know that she should instead be praying that it is rats because it's probably something much worse. Daughter wakes up to the chair being dragged aside. Mom's investigating the basement. She finds a photo of John. The closet creaks open. Daughter is correctly terrified. The closet's empty. More photos of the Winchester family. Oh, yeah, no, there's some sort of fire demon in the closet. Daughter screams. Title. We see a woman standing in the window, banging on the window and screaming. Oh, it was one of Sam's dreams, or visions, whatever you want to call them. Dean has some leads, but Sam's distracted doodling trees. New haircut, Goofin. I don't love it. Apparently his memory of his dreams and his drawing ability are both so good that he's able to perfectly draw the tree to the point that it matches a photo from their childhood. So he says they need to go back home to Kansas because he thinks the people who live in their old house, the one that caught fire but was rebuilt, are in danger. He finally admits to Dean that he sometimes has nightmares that come true, that he dreamt of Jessica's death in detail for days before it happened, which is why Bloody Mary wanted to kill him. And now he's dreaming about a woman screaming for help in their old home. Dean thinks it's a coincidence, and he's also a bit reluctant to go back home because he swore he'd never go back there. Sam convinces him to go check it out. Classic boys pulling up shot. Feek. Dean's eyes are pretty. They introduce themselves. Sam soap talks his way into the house. She lets him in, having found their photos a few nights before. She gives her son juice, which he loves, and introduces her daughter Sari. They just moved in, needing a fresh start. She barely hides that whatever caused the fresh start has messed her right up. She mentions that the house has issues. Flickering lights, sink backed up, rats in the basement. Or at least, scratching sounds. Oh, and her daughter is seeing a freaky fire monster in her closet. She asks Sam and Dean to confirm there's nothing in the closet, and now it's them with terrible poker faces. At this point, looking at their reaction, I as a kid would be absolutely convinced I was going to die. I was, and still am, an anxious wreck. Anyway, when Sam hears that the daughter saw a figure on fire, he gets pretty freaked out. And Hot Mom was totally the woman in his dream. And there was scratching and flickering lights, which are both signs of a spirit. Which means Sam was absolutely correct, which is kind of a good news, bad news situation. They don't know what's going on, but they know the family's in danger. Unfortunately, they can't exactly tell the truth, so they have to just treat this like any other job. Figure out what they're dealing with, look into the history of the house. On the bright side, they have personal experience with the history of the house. On the dark side, Dean says he doesn't remember much, just the fire and the heat, and carrying Sam out the door. Which is news to Sam, he didn't know Dean carried him out. But if their dad had a theory of what did it, he never told them. Jesus Christ, that chin is absolutely absurd. He looks like handsome Squidward, but like handsomer, with hair and pretty eyes. Anyway, they'll have to talk to other people who were around at the time to try to get more info, maybe some friends of their dad. Dean excuses himself to the bathroom, but then he gets all suspicious.
Don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious.
And calls his dad. Leaves another message. Tells him there's something in their old house and that he doesn't know what to do. And he absolutely kills this scene. This is one of his best in the season. One of his best in the series, I'd say.
I need your help, Dad.
Back to Hot Mom, whose actual name is Jenny, if you were wondering. I'm probably not going to use it much. A plumber is working on the backed up sink. Then one of those creepy cymbal monkeys starts smacking its cymbals. Seriously, who buys those things? I've literally only seen them in scary movies and games. I always shoot them when I find them in Fallout. It's so creepy. He keeps plumbing away, getting increasingly skeeved out by the monkey. Uh-oh. Garbage disposal. This never goes well. He reaches in. He's reaching. Ah, okay. You got me. He reaches back in. And it turns on. Oh my god, his hand is getting torn up as a monkey claps. This is awful. Back to the boys. They're talking to the guy who owned a garage with their dad, pretending to be cops. They ask about John. The guy says that before the fire he was stubborn and hated to lose, but he loved Mary and his kids. After the fire, John insisted that something caused the fire, but the mechanic figures it was just an electrical short. John got weirder, started reading weird books, and started seeing a palm reader in town. The boys look up palm readers, and Dean recognizes the name Missouri Mosley because it was in their dad's journal, where it says, "I went to Missouri and I learned the truth." Dean had previously assumed it referred to the state. So they're off to Missouri. The person, not the state. Missouri, who has an awesome accent, immediately dishes about how the previous client's wife is banging the gardener, which has to be bad form for a palm reader, right? I know there isn't doctor-patient confidentiality, but yeesh. Then she invites them in by name, which shocks them because they didn't give her their names. She says they grew up handsome, which is the truest thing anyone has ever said on the show so far. And she says sorry about Jess, and that their dad's missing. Looks like she's a bit more legit than the average palm reader. She can actually read thoughts and sense energies, though she can't pull facts out of thin air. Which makes you wonder how she knew the guy's wife was cheating on him if she could only read his mind, but, let's not overthink it. Side note, I absolutely love her delivery here.
You think I'm a magician?
So good. She reveals that she first met John a few days after the fire, when he came for a reading. She told him what was really out there. Monsters and stuff. He took her to the house, and she sensed something evil, but she wasn't sure what. Back to hot mom Jenny. She's being held liable for the plumber's hand, which she thinks is unfair. And I gotta agree, but then again, there isn't that much case law on acts by evil supernatural forces. She leaves her boy to check on some banging upstairs. Back to the boys. Missouri is surprised there are issues at the house, because she's been keeping an eye on it and nothing has really happened in all these years. Back to the little boy, Richie, whose playpen is mysteriously unlatched. The fridge is mysteriously opened. And the boy, who was previously revealed to be a juice fiend, bafflingly climbs all the way into the fridge, which just happens to have a boy-sized empty space on the shelf, then gets locked in. Mom freaks out, understandably not checking the fridge for her child, until she sees milk leaking out and takes him out. Honestly, that was a pretty weak attempt by the spirit.
Ha 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 ha, now you're kind of chilly.
The boys in Missouri show up, and Missouri goes all charming, sassy southern woman and gets them invited in. They go to Sam's nursery, where it all happened. Dean whips out a new EMF meter, which looks much fancier than the one he used on the plane. Missouri can sense that it isn't the same thing that killed their mom. In fact, it isn't an it, it's a them. Apparently, the evil that came to their house back then left a wound, which caused it to be a magnet for paranormal activity. And now it's attracted a poltergeist, as well as a second spirit that you can't quite make out. So they get a bunch of witchy stuff together to put in the walls and destroy the spirits, as well as purify the house. But they gotta be quick because the spirits will be pissed once they figure out what's going on. Hot Mom takes the kids out of the house and they get to work, all taking a floor. Sam's tapping on the wall, but an invisible force pulls out an electrical cord which snakes its way towards Sam. Dean's tapping too, and the fridge opens. Missouri checks a hole in the wall and gets trapped by a drawer. Knives fly at Dean. See, that's how you try to kill someone in a kitchen. The cord wraps around Sam's neck and starts choking him. He grabs his little baggie, but drops it and starts to lose consciousness. But Dean arrives at the last second, fails to pull the cord off, kicks through the wall in desperation, and in a moment of rather absurd luck, that was the last thing that had to be done. There's a flash of white light, and Sam is saved. Sam asks Missouri if she's sure it's over, and she says yes, but he's not so convinced. Neither am I, because there are 10 minutes left, and that'd be awfully long for the old post-episode heart-to-heart. I've said it a lot, but this show suffers from the same thing as House, where if they suggest lupus 25 minutes in, you know it's not lupus.
It's never lupus.
It's almost never lupus. I think it was lupus once. Okay, the word lupus now sounds ridiculous. The family comes home to a freaking disaster, and Missouri volunteers Dean's cleaning services, which he's not pleased with. Then they leave. We see Jenny in bed, reading a parenting magazine. This is not a good sign. There is plenty of time for her to die horribly. Her bed starts shaking. She starts screaming. Cut to the boys who are waiting in the car outside the house, because Sam has a hunch that something's still wrong. Then Sam sees her screaming at the window just like she was in the vision. The boys rush in. She can't open her door. The flaming spirit is going for her daughter. Dean saves mom, Sam saves son, then saves daughter before Fiery Boy can get her. He tells Sari to take her brother outside, just like John said to Dean all those years before in that very house. Then Sam's grabbed by the spirit. Sari gets out and the door slams shut. Dean grabs a gun and runs up to the house as scared neighbors watch on. Dean tries to break down the door as Sam is getting beaten up by the invisible force. Then Fiery Boy walks up. Dean gets in. Fiery Boy walks closer. Dean goes to shoot Fiery Boy and Sam stops him because he knows who the spirit is. It's another hot mom. Specifically, their hot mom. Wait, was she the one beating Sam up before? She says sorry, but doesn't explain why. She just gives a weird look. Then she turns, looks up, and tells someone else to let go of her son. Oh, okay, there was a third spirit. That makes more sense. She bursts into flames. The flames envelop something on the ceiling, and Sam is released. And he says,
Now it's over.
which is debatable, but I'm avoiding spoilers, so I'll leave it at that. Dean's looking at a photo of them as kids, which shows them to be utterly adorable. Missouri was totally out of line, calling him a goofy-looking kid earlier. Missouri confirms the spirits are gone, but damn, Sam just got his powers, and already he's caught something that she missed. Starting to wonder how competent she really is. She reveals that their mom destroyed herself to defeat the spirit. Sam asks why she would do that, which is the dumbest question ever. Obviously, it was to save her sons, idiot. You fool. Sam asks about his new powers, but she's not much help. Then they leave. Missouri watches them all suspiciously.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Okay, that's the last one for this video. It's too good a clip to leave off. Missouri walks back into her house and does a bad line read about Sam's powerful abilities to someone off screen. Then we get a really annoying reveal. John's there, and he's pretty emotional about his wife's spirit saving their sons. Then Missouri asks why he isn't freaking talking to his kids, but he says he can't until he knows the truth. And I'm like, maybe you'd have an easier time learning the truth if you worked with your sons, dummy. Now, to be fair, keeping secrets from your family for no reason seems to be a Winchester trait, so I guess it's not uncharacteristic, but it's still annoying. And that's the episode. I don't know, it was fine. Mary sacrificing herself was cool, and Missouri was great, but it had its issues. The fact that the worst thing that happened in the whole episode was the plumber losing his hand kind of made the stakes feel low, especially combined with the whole freezing a kid to death in the refrigerator plan. Also, now that I think of it, if Mary was Fiery Boy, why did she keep scaring the little girl? But the worst part, which I hated so much that I referenced it in a previous video, was John's piss-poor reason to not be talking to his boys. It was so dumb, and his disappearance was such a big plot point that it really sucks that the reasoning behind it was so stupid. I don't know, it was fine. I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it as much as other people apparently, because it has like 8.8 on IMDb. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Oh, and side note, if you want to avoid spoilers, you might want to avoid the comment section in this video, because there may be a discussion of a future character that's a little spoilery. But you know, the pinned comments say, so just scroll down enough to do the poll, because it'll really help me. Also, smack that like button! Anyway, I'll let you go. Thanks for stopping by, and I hope to see you in the next video. Stay safe, stay sane, and stay smiling.